going to be off the rim, taken by Reeves. We got a timeout, Lakers.
What you just watched is the Lakers up 20 points in the last 3 minutes of the game against the Mavs. The starters are still in. Why? Because LeBron James has 9 rebounds and needs 1 more for a triple-double. A minute later, he gets it, and now he decides he can leave the game.
It is the first triple-double of the season for LeBron James.
In light of Russell Westbrook's retirement, what better time could there be to discuss the stat that he revolutionized and the problem that it's become? On April 9th, 2017, Russell Westbrook recorded his 42nd triple-double of the season. 50 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists. It was the most triple-doubles anyone has ever recorded in a single season. But more importantly, it broke a record that stood for 55 years.
Gives it back to Rush. Deep shot! What a perfect ending to a historic day!
In 1961, Oscar Robertson became the first player in NBA history to average a triple-double over an entire season. He averaged 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists. He did the same thing the following season, and again the season after that. But eventually, the triple-double became something almost mythical. For more than 5 decades, nobody else would average one over an entire season. And then came Russell Westbrook.
Jailbreak, what a pass! What a pass! Play of the day!
And don't tell me it went through his leg. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
3-point Magic lead. 3-ball Westbrook. He got it with 7 seconds to play. 1 remaining. Westbrook shows from the basketball. Goes to the rim! And sticks the dagger into the Rockets.
In the 2016-2017 season, Westbrook averaged 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists per game. He became just the second player in NBA history to average a triple-double for an entire season. In that same season, he broke another record. The most triple-doubles that Oscar Robertson recorded in a season was 41. In that 2017 season, Westbrook recorded 42. At the time, this was groundbreaking, a legendary achievement, something that was meant to stand the test of time. In 2015, there were 55 total triple-doubles league-wide. In 2011, there were 41. In 2006, there were 40. You can keep going down that list, but the total stayed around that general threshold. Before Westbrook, the NBA had never seen more than 79 triple-doubles in a single season. But then something happened after he broke Oscar Robertson's record. The triple-double, it started becoming normal. In 2017, the total triple-doubles in a single season increased to 126. Just 2 years later in 2019, there were 142. In just another 2 years, it would be 152. It just kept rising. The entire league went from producing a few dozen triple-doubles to producing over 100 per season. During the 2026 season, another player who has began normalizing triple-doubles recorded 34 on his own.
Jokic going to try to draw the foul.
Behind the back to Watson! Wow. Oh my! Wow.
To put that into perspective, in 2012, the entire NBA recorded 24 triple-doubles. That includes every single player. One player today is producing more triple-doubles than the entire league was 14 years ago. And I know what you're thinking. What actually happened, and why is this even a problem? Did players suddenly become this much better at doing everything? Or has the triple-double simply become easier to get?
We are officially 1 month into the season, and when you look at some trends that we've seen so far, one that stands out to everyone is just the pace of play. The average pace this season is the highest it's been since the late 1980s. Meanwhile, 10 teams have an average speed of 4.5 miles per hour. The Grizzlies led the league last year at 4.48.
The pace of the game is measured by the number of possessions per 48 minutes. In the early 2000s, teams were averaging around 90 possessions per game. Over the years, that number has increased to almost 100. So what does that mean? More possessions means more shots. More shots means more rebounds. More possessions means more opportunities to pass. And more opportunities to pass means more assists. But if you take a look at this graph, you'll see that the NBA has played fast before, and triple-doubles weren't always this common. So pace explains part of the explosion, but not all of it. The bigger change happened with the players themselves. If you take a look at any major sport and consider its history, you'll know that people just get better. Look at a combat sport, for example. A fighter today has more access to science-based training, better recovery, and better equipment. Compare that to someone in the past, and the difference in skill level is large. You can apply the same logic to the NBA. The game evolves. The modern superstar doesn't just do one thing. They score, they rebound, they pass, they initiate the offense, and sometimes they do all of it in the same possession. And then there's Nikola Jokic, a 7-foot center who brings the ball up like a guard, runs the offense, dominates the post, controls the glass, and somehow sees passing lanes that don't even look like they're there. And this is where the triple-double starts becoming easier to accumulate. Because when one player controls almost everything the team does offensively, they naturally have more opportunities to accumulate stats. And we can actually see this when we look beyond just the box score. This is advanced data from cleaning the glass, and I know it looks confusing, but just pay attention. For multiple seasons in his career, Jokic's point differential has sat in the 100th percentile, the absolute top 1% of the NBA. This means that when he's on the floor, his team transforms into the most efficient scoring machine in basketball. According to this chart, Jokic's mere presence on the floor adds an estimated 51 to 52 extra wins to his team over the season. He isn't just accumulating stats to look good. When he's on the court, his team's offensive efficiency and shooting percentages jump straight to the top 1% of the entire league. His triple-doubles aren't a product of hunting for stats. They're a natural byproduct of a player who is the entire system. And Jokic is actually important to this argument, because he shows that the rise in triple-doubles isn't simply about players becoming better at chasing them. Some of the greatest triple-double producers in NBA history are doing it because their team genuinely depends on them to do everything. But that creates another problem with the triple-double itself. The statistic doesn't care how you got these numbers. It doesn't care if you shot 60% from the field or 30%. It doesn't care if you turned the ball over 8 times. It doesn't care if your team won or lost by 20. And it doesn't care if your 10 rebounds came from actually dominating the glass or if you were simply in the right place for uncontested rebounds. All that matters is you reach that 10-10-10 threshold. And that brings us to why the NBA has a problem when it comes to triple-doubles. The stat itself has completely lost its meaning. It undermines what a meaningful game actually is. This used to be a historic feat and a guaranteed headline. Now it feels like you can tune in any given night and see a player with a triple-double. And here's where the triple-double gets really weird for measuring a player's performance. We're taking 3 completely different statistics, putting the exact same threshold on each one, and then treating the result as a single achievement. Why? Arguably my most important point is that 10-10-10 is a very arbitrary threshold. What does this mean? Well, an arbitrary threshold is defined as a limit or dividing line chosen without a strict scientific, mathematical, or deep logical reason. Human psychology fixates on the clean number and stat lines of 10s across the board. But what about a game where a player scored something like 35 and 8? Is it less meaningful because that 8 wasn't a 10? Or what about a player who scores 40 points, grabs 9 rebounds, and has 9 assists? They could have completely dominated the game, but because they fell a rebound and an assist short of an arbitrary threshold, the performance isn't officially considered a statistical achievement. Meanwhile, someone could finish with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists, and technically achieve that milestone. This is where the triple-double starts influencing the way we remember games. We see the word triple-double and immediately associate it with an elite performance, even though the stat line itself doesn't tell us how efficient the player was, how important those numbers were, or whether the team even won. It also crosses that line of stat chasing. On countless occasions, teams will have a massive lead, which typically means their starters should be subbed out. But if they're close to that triple-double, they need to get those extra 2 rebounds first.
It does. The reality is you can't form.
It just creates an unethical way of playing basketball. And whether or not you want to believe that players are intentionally stat padding, the incentive is clearly there. If getting 1 more rebound or 1 more assist changes your game from a normal performance into a statistical achievement, there's naturally going to be more attention placed on reaching that number. And we've seen this happen before. Players have played in games longer, teammates have passed up shots, and teams have actively looked for opportunities to help a player reach that milestone.
Go get the ball! Go get the ball!
They just let it drop.
The problem isn't that the players are wanting to achieve something great. The problem is that the statistic can sometimes become more important than what actually happened on the court. The triple-double used to be the definitive benchmark of being a master of the craft. It meant you outworked, outsmarted, and completely outplayed everyone in the court. Until we look past the clean rows of 10s across the box score and start valuing actual winning impact, we will keep overvaluing an arbitrary milestone that has officially run out of meaning.